Hi, it's Cara from Enchanted Vines, and today we're going to go over how to safely ship a wreath. So you've done all the work. Your wreath is beautiful. It's got fine construction and mechanics. We need to make sure that when it reaches your customer, it's going to be in the exact same state because you worked hard to get it. So what we're going to do is, to start, any wreath that has a bow, I go in and I'm going to put a little bit of tissue paper in each of the loops. And this way, when it makes it to its new home, it looks just like it did on your Etsy listing or on your Facebook post, wherever you were selling from. And I encourage people to hold on to this tissue paper and the box, and when it's time to put it away for the next season, go ahead and restuff the loops to help them keep their shape. That's why I always use wired ribbon, is because no matter what happens to it, it's still going to fluff back up when you spread it out and position it the way that it's meant to be. Just going through the tissue paper. So I always get my tissue paper in bulk. This is from, I'm in New Hampshire, so this is from a wholesaler in Boston called Jacobson's, and they sell, different mix packs, but it's usually about like 500 sheets at a time. This is waxed tissue paper, so it's a little hardier than like your regular tissue paper, and I feel like it's just going to hold up a little better. Really, it doesn't matter exactly which one you use. Either type, whether it's just regular tissue paper or waxed, is going to work great. Alright, so let's get one more loop. Last loop. And you don't want to overstuff the loops. You want them stuffed, but you don't want it to be so much that it's like putting pressure on it for the, for it to somehow loosen. Okay, so this is what it looks like with the bow stuffed. Now we're going to prepare our shipping box. So my go-to base for a wreath is 18 inches, and when they're built out, they usually come out around like 22 inches. So what I use for shipping boxes are 20 by 20 by 6. I get them on Amazon. They come in packs, usually of 15. There are other places you can go. You can shop around at Staples, Uline, Grainger. There's a few different places that you can go. I've just found Amazon to be the most convenient. They have the fastest turnaround, so that's where I get mine. So what we're going to do first is we're going to tape the bottom of the box. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm first going to tape it in the middle. And then I'm just going to repeat this 2 more times. Sorry, I know this noise is not pleasant. Okay, so we've taped it down the seam. Now we're going to go in the opposite direction. I'm just going to put 2 pieces of tape going across. Now, I feel like it's a common misconception that you can't safely ship wreaths, but you can as long as they're secured to the bottom of the box. So what I do is this is like a little baby Phillips head screwdriver. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make 2 sets of holes underneath this box. So because it needs to go through both flaps, I'm going to hold this to make sure that the screwdriver goes through both. Okay, so 1, 2. Okay, so here's where we're at right now. We have 2 sets of holes. Now we're going to take some chenille stems, okay, and we're going to feed these through the holes because they're what's going to hold the wreath to the bottom of the box. And after we put these through, we need to put a piece of tape over it because otherwise, say this was left somewhere and there was like moisture or it rained, there's an opening in the box right now. So we need to make sure that that's sealed. So this is what it looks like with them in. And we're going to tape them over. All right, so now looking at the inside of our box, we have the 2 sets of chenille stems. So what I'm going to do first is put down a piece of paper that goes, a piece of tissue paper that goes in the middle of the box. Okay, so we're starting to set the stage. I always love giving people a positive experience so that when they get your designs in the mail, they can kind of tell from the packaging already that it's from you. It's kind of got your signature spin to it. So I'm going to put the wreath in the box. And now I'm going to take the first chenille stem and I'm going to tie it around one of the thicker branches of grapevine. If you just tie it on something like a real thin piece, there's a good chance that it could separate. So I'm going to tie this on and then I'm going to twist it so it's nice and tight. I don't want the wreath to be able to move. Okay. Now I'm going to repeat that. Find my thick stem. This is like a magic trick. You have to do this without really being able to see what you're doing. But well worth it. So what I like to do is I like to have an entire case of shipping boxes prepped. So you may know that my retired dad, I call him the shipping department. He is incredibly helpful with getting things prepped ahead of time. Not my strong suit. He is much better with the planning. So what we'll do is we'll take pretty much all of these steps, minus putting the wreath in, and we'll have them all ready to go so that, say you sell a design that you already have, you might be able to ship this next day. And imagine a customer getting something handcrafted within a few days of ordering like that. That to me would be so exciting. So we have our wreath securely in the box, okay? She's not going anywhere. Now I'm going to go through and put a piece of tissue paper on each of the corners. And even though I know that the wreath isn't going to move, this is where it becomes more of an aesthetic thing. I want people to open it and have it look like beautiful mail. So now we have all 4 corners stuffed. And then I like to have a pretty piece of tissue paper on top. Okay, so I've been using this for years. So I feel like when my customers open their box, they know that this is from me as soon as they see this paper. So I'm going to lay this down. And then it's always important to have a few things in your order. So one thing I like to have is a care card. And it's instructions on how to give your wreath some TLC so that it lasts for years to come, not just a season. So it talks about how to care for it, how to hang it, things like that. So I put my care card in, I put my business card in, and then I always put in a thank you note. So I really feel like thank you notes are the difference between somebody just going to a big box store and just grabbing a cheap wreath, or them actually investing the time and energy to support a small business. So I always like to express my gratitude. Doesn't matter if the order is big or small. All right, so now we have all these items in. So now we are going to start closing this. You have to make sure that none of the leaves are sticking out because they get damaged. And it's okay if your wreath, like this wreath is coming up a little higher than 6 inches. You can have wreaths smushed down a little bit, but it can't be beyond the point where you know, it's actually damaging them or it's beyond fluffing. Okay, we don't want our customers to have to do any work. Like, we don't want them to have to steam our wreaths or anything like that. So once that is in, take, and I'm not going to torture you with the sound because I know it's bad, but I'm going to repeat the taping pattern the same as it was on the back. So I'm going to take 3 pieces of tape here, 2 pieces of tape here. What I find helpful is I get my tape through an Amazon subscription just to save money. I get a 12-pack every 2 to 3 months, and that way I'm always like fully stocked and ready to go. So that is how I that is how I safely ship my wreaths. So I hope you found this helpful. Thanks so much.